Throughout the decades, Disney has used countless marches in their films, TV shows, and theme parks. Today, we're going to be counting through 10 of our favorite Disney marches. We're going to start off by asking a very important question. What is a march? Well, a march is a particular style or genre of music. And in this particular style, it originated several centuries ago as a style of music that was meant to move people from one place to another. Now, at the time, that was primarily talking about armies. But today, we actually use marches for all different kinds of things. Some of the musical characteristics of a march include having a really strong pulse, often very rhythmic and steady beat because it's trying to coordinate the movement of people walking or marching. Another feature in modern marches is that we often have repeated sections and then sometimes a trio where we have a key change. And then another thing that you will notice in many marches is a counter melody, most commonly played by woodwind instruments, perhaps bells as well. So high melodic voices will often have very, very active counter melodies that will come in when we have repeats of the theme. Marches are most commonly written in 4/4 or cut time. And the widely accepted modern march tempo is 120 beats per minute. So number 10 on our list is actually not just one march, it's kind of a whole category of marches, and it's from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. First one I'd like to draw your attention to is the Marvel Introduction. It's a march that you hear in the introduction to all of the Marvel films and TV series. And what could go better with superheroes than a march? The second march that I would like to highlight for Marvel is actually Captain America March. This is a really, really great classic march. So in the film, you will hear all of the classic characteristics, the kind of heroic, strong brass fanfare, and then you'll hear the woodwinds kind of playing in the background. And it's neat because this march kind of starts gently and kind of develops as the character develops, and then it becomes stronger, and then you have this kind of triumphant statement of it. The next march on our list is from an older Disney film, and it's called Colonel Hathie's March from The Jungle Book. This comes at a point in the film when Mowgli is resting in the tree, and the parade of elephants is marching by. So they are singing and kind of chanting along with this march. And it has, again, all the traditional features of a march. Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? That's right, the Mickey Mouse Club March is number 8 on our list. It was actually the theme song to the TV show, and you can hear children's voices singing along with it. Probably, I would say, maybe one of the most famous marches on our list. We are going to move to the Star Wars universe. Yes, there are some amazing marches, and most of them are actually written by John Williams, who is a really iconic and amazing composer. So the first one I'd like to feature is the Imperial March, and this was introduced in Empire Strikes Back, and it is a theme that is meant to signal the Empire, but most of us very closely associate it with Darth Vader. It has a darker tone to it, and the instrumentation is a lot of low brass, a lot of very edgy brass playing. And so it really gives us a very, very different feel than some of the marches that we've highlighted earlier in our list. Another march from Star Wars that is worth noting is the Throne Room March. And this is the finale scene in Star Wars A New Hope, so episode 4. And this is a really regal, strong, beautiful march. The setting is that we're honoring our heroes rather than applauding the villains. 2 more marches from Star Wars that are going to get honorable mention today are March of the Resistance and March of the Ewoks. So these are both tunes that really enhance the storytelling, and they transport you. And quite frankly, all of the music in the Star Wars universe is amazing, and you should definitely take a moment to check it out. Number 6 on our list is from The Lion King, and it's Be Prepared. Now, this one is probably the least like a march on our list, but we've included it because the way that it functions in a film is basically a march. You'll notice that Scar is rallying the hyenas and he's getting them ready to kind of take charge. So he literally is moving his troops with this music. That is exactly what a march is for. So even though it does not have all the traditional characteristics of a march, we've included it here because functionally it is a march. Number 5 on our list is a classic, and it's Hi-Ho from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is the march that the Seven Dwarfs sing at the end of their workday. So really it's a work song. It's kind of a classic work song, but it is also a march. It has some lovely counter melodies happening, does have repeated sections. It even has like a little trio section to it, which is really kind of a classic feature of a march. Number 4 on our list is Dumbo. If there's one thing to know about music and circuses, it's that they counted on live musicians in a band to play circus marches primarily to accompany the performers. Circus marches are infamously very, very fast tempo, and they can be very technical and difficult. I can tell you as a musician, some of the hardest music I've played are circus marches. So there are 2 songs I would like to highlight in Dumbo, and one is the Casey Jr. March. So this is, Casey Jr. is the train. So this is kind of at the beginning of Dumbo, and they are getting on the train, and so he has a theme that goes with all of his, loading all the animals on, and you're kind of setting the scene for the film. The other march from Dumbo that I'd like to point out is Pink Elephants on Parade, and this is the dream sequence. He starts dreaming about all these weird elephants, and he's having kind of a rough day. And in this sequence, there is a classic march. And again, literally the elephants in the dream are marching to this music. So that is undoubtedly a march. We are down to number 3, and this one is from Robin Hood. And it is the Tournament Parade. This one is heard when Robin is going to the archery contest. This is the regal and royal march that we are hearing, and it's played by elephants with herald trumpets, and it's great. And again, it's a very, very traditional march. This one particularly a regal sound, so we always kind of associate things like trumpets with like a, regal meaning like royal. So this march fits perfectly in this setting. Number 2. I am so excited for number 2. I love this one so much. Now this is a march. The Raiders March from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So Raiders March is Indiana Jones' theme song. That's what we're talking about. The Raiders March is a beautiful march, again composed by one of our favorites, John Williams, who did the Star Wars marches as well. It has all the really bright and brilliant brass. We have the woodwinds and all the flourishes happening, the counter melodies in the background, and that strong rhythmic pulse throughout. Number 1 is The Sorcerer's Apprentice. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it is the iconic scene in Fantasia when Mickey Mouse steals the sorcerer's hat. He enchants the brooms, and he ends up chopping it up, and it turns into all the brooms, and they're marching all around. The Sorcerer's Apprentice was composed in 1897 by French composer Paul Dukas. And it's what we would call a tone poem. It's meant to be telling a story. And it really doesn't turn into a march until we get later into the piece, when it develops, the story develops, and then we start to have all the one broom marching at first, and then later it becomes dozens and dozens of brooms, and Mickey becomes overwhelmed by this. Now this one's a little bit different musically because it is in largely 9/8. There are some different time signatures happening in the piece, but we have a lot in 9/8. We have that wonderful melody in the bassoon, which is not what we would think of normally for a march, because bassoons typically do not get to march in marching band. But it is a wonderful orchestral march that is telling a really, really great story, one that is iconic to Disney. Thank you so much for joining us today for our list of favorite Disney marches. We hope you go check out some marches, and in the month of March in particular is a great time to learn more about marches and to listen to some marches. I will include some links in the description below so you can do some more learning and additional research. Hey, if you found this video to be helpful, fun, informative, or entertaining, please hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you know every time we have a new video. We would also love it if you would comment below. Let us know, did we miss any of your favorite marches? This was certainly not a comprehensive list, and I'm sure that we left out some that you love too. So be sure to comment below and tell us what you think. We'll see you next time. And remember, there's magic in the music. Bye, everybody. Looking for more Disney, music, DVC, or family fun? Click the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you're notified every time we upload a new video. Thanks for watching!